AT&T customers, your call logs might have been leaked. Millions of Exim email servers could be at risk. Apple warns iPhone customers of spyware in certain countries. Netgear patches a stored cross-site scripting vulnerability. An upcoming threat actor in the open source software vulnerability space. RiteAid suffers a data breach. Hacktivists breach Disney's internal Slack. And is your security team able to fix POC exploits within an hour of release? All that and more in today's episode of the Cybersecurity Digest. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Cybersecurity Digest, where our goal is to help you stay informed so you can stay secure. I'm your host, Greg, and today is Monday, July 15th, 2024. Thank you very much to everyone who tuned into our first episode this past Friday. I greatly appreciate your time and attention. As I continue to improve my processes, I'm hoping to publish episodes on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays so you can stay informed. Are you an AT&T customer? Well, there's a very good chance you are among the 109 million customers who had unfortunately had their call logs leaked as part of a recent data breach of AT&T's Snowflake account. This leak came to light in lieu of a Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) Form 8K filing. If you are unaware, an 8K filing is required by the SEC to notify the public when unscheduled material events or changes within the corporation that could be of importance to shareholders. This past December, the SEC updated their rules requiring disclosure within 4 business days of any cyber attacks once it has been determined to be material. The goal of these reports are to provide an unfiltered look at information for both researchers and investors. This filing was filed on Friday, July 12th by AT&T. In the filing, AT&T stated that it had discovered a threat actor had accessed and copied call logs from their Snowflake sometime between April 14th and April 25th. The data obtained by threat actors includes the call and text records from May 1st to October 31st, 2022, as well as on January 2nd, 2023. AT&T clarified that the data does not contain the content of the calls or texts. They also stated that PII was not part of the exfiltrated data. The Department of Justice had determined that a delay in public disclosure was warranted and permitted the delay. AT&T states in the report that they have worked with law enforcement as well as taken additional cybersecurity measures in response. AT&T also stated in the filing that it does not believe the incident is reasonably likely to materially impact the company. In other news, Exim, a message transfer agent developed by the University of Cambridge for Unix systems to allow for flexible mail routing and extensive mail checking, has a new vulnerability. This mail transfer agent is widely used around the world, and in fact, over 70% of public-facing Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, or SMTP, servers are running it. The vulnerability, known as CVE 2024-39929, was reported last Wednesday by Census. This vulnerability boasts a CVSS score of 9.1. Census reports that the vulnerability could allow a remote attacker to bypass filename extension blocking protection measures and deliver executable attachments to end users' mailboxes. Census also clarified in the article that as of their report, that no active exploitation was known, and that just a POC is available. Exim has since published a fix for the issue in version 4.98. If you want to determine if you or your organization is vulnerable to this specific vulnerability, Census offers several searches on their site, which will be linked in the show notes of this episode. I highly recommend that you determine if you are impacted, and if you are, patching to 4.98 as soon as possible. All right, iPhone users. Manish Singh, senior reporter with TechCrunch, reported on Wednesday, July 10th, of Apple warning iPhone users in 98 countries of potential spyware attacks. Singh stated in the report that, and I quote, "It's the second such alert from the company this year and follows a similar notification Apple had sent in April to users in 92 different nations." One of the most renowned spyware for iPhones has been the Pegasus spyware from the NSO Group. If you'd like to learn more about Pegasus, I highly suggest you check out another podcast called The Darknet Diaries. In episode 100, Jack, the host, takes a deep dive into NSO and does a great job highlighting the capabilities of this spyware. In the TechCrunch report, it did not specify attackers' identities or the specific countries affected. Apple informed users that they were being targeted due to their identity or activities conducted and stressed the importance of heeding these warnings to those impacted. Singh stated in the article that, and I quote, "In its communication to affected users, Apple stressed the sensitive nature of its threat identification methods, cautioning that divulging additional details could potentially aid attackers in evading future detection." The show notes will have a link to both this TechCrunch article as well as the mentioned Darknet Diaries episode. Do you have a Netgear Nighthawk XR100 gaming router? If you do, you might want to check if you have any updates for your router. Netgear published on Thursday, July 11th, of a stored cross-site scripting vulnerability impacting this specific model of router. Netgear listed the vulnerability as a CVSS score of 7.1 out of 10 and strongly recommended that users impacted download the latest firmware as soon as possible. On Thursday, Miguel Hernandez with Sysdig published an in-depth look at an upcoming threat actor known as CrystalRay that has been observed exploiting open-source software tools. Sysdig's threat research team had first made observations of the threat actor in February 2024, leveraging the SSH Snake open-source pen test tool, and has been monitoring the threat actor ever since. Miguel states in the report, and I quote, that the Sysdig threat research team's latest observations show that CrystalRay's operations have scaled 10x to over 1,500 victims and now include mass scanning, exploiting multiple vulnerabilities, and placing backdoors using multiple open-source software security tools, end quote. The research also highlights that CrystalRay employs a range of tools from Project Discovery, such as ZMAP for scanning, HTTPX for verifying live domains, and Nuclei for vulnerability scanning. They also use ASN for OSINT and Platypus for managing reverse shell sessions. The attackers focus on specific IP ranges in countries like the United States and China, and have been avoiding easily detectable patterns in hopes to maintain stealth. The report also highlighted that once access is gained, CrystalRay uses SSH Snake to propagate through networks, collecting credentials and deploying backdoors. Hernandez also states in the report that crypto miners are also deployed by the group, as well as they are likely to sell credentials on the black market to further their financial gains from these attacks. From this report, it sounds like this group is continuing to refine its techniques and is definitely one to keep an eye on. If you would like to read more about this threat actor or for IOCs or indicators of compromise, please check out the show notes for a link to the published report from Sysdig. On Friday, July 12th, Bleeping Computer reported that RiteAid confirmed that it had suffered a data breach in June, which is being attributed to the Ransom Hub ransomware gang. The post by Ransom Hub ransomware gang claims to have obtained over 10 gigabytes of customer information, including names, addresses, driver license ID numbers, date of birth, and RiteAid rewards numbers. Bleeping Computer has spoken with RiteAid, and in their report had said, and I quote, "While RiteAid didn't share what customer data was accessed in the breach or how many individuals were affected, it said that the data breach doesn't impact health or financial information," end quote. It also stated in the report that RiteAid will be sending notification to impacted customers. So if you have shopped there recently or, over the last couple of years, definitely keep an eye out for those notifications in the coming weeks. Mickey Mouse and friends are probably disheartened to learn that 1.1 terabytes of files and chat messages from Disney's internal Slack were released by hacktivist group Nullbudge Group. The group claimed on X, formerly Twitter, that it had grabbed 1.1 terabytes of data from almost 10,000 Slack channels. The post by the group claims every message and file has been dumped, including unreleased projects, raw images, code, logins, links to internal API and web pages, as well as more. VX Underground on X, formerly Twitter, stated, "Based on the information disclosed by the threat actor, we suspect it is yet another victim of InfoStealer malware." On Thursday, July 11th, Cloudfare published a report titled Application Security Report 2024 update. This report highlights significant changes regarding the internet security landscape over the past year. One section from the report that I found fascinating says, and I quote, "While DDoS attacks remain the #1 attack vector used against web applications, targeted CVE attacks are also worth keeping an eye on, as we have seen exploits as fast as 22 minutes after a proof of concept was released." Holy crap! 22 minutes? Wow. That is quite astonishing to see how quick some of these threat actors are getting, and just highlights the importance of remediating as soon as possible. Another key takeaway from the report is that API traffic is now reportedly 60% of all internet traffic. If you'd like to read more of this fascinating report, please check the link for the full report in the show notes. All right, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in today's episode of the Cybersecurity Digest. As mentioned earlier, all links and articles mentioned in this show are in the show notes. Additionally, you can head to www.thecybersecuritydigest.com to find all of our links, as well as the links to this podcast in your podcast platform of choice. If you like this episode, please consider giving us a follow on your podcast platform of choice and share with someone you know who is into cybersecurity. As of now, the goal is to release episodes on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Before you head on out, here is a daily dad joke for you to start your week. How do you make one disappear? Just add a G and it's gone. All right, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, stay informed to stay secure.